Good. So as I okay, this is the second session of karate basically, but saying so the good thing about karate is you don't need to write code like what you write in REST. For example, RESTful API services, you have to write the Java code, proper Java code. But here we are just running only the BDD. So we are writing just the feature files and running them. So if you see, we don't need to write any Java code which calls the step definition that calls a feature file. So basically, you write your given when then the BDD here, then you write your step definitions, and inside the step definitions it's up to the person. They can write the code directly here or they write their code outside and call it. I usually write my code outside and call it into the step definitions. And using the runner class, you run it. So this baggage of writing the code and step definitions is not there in karate because they are already set up in their framework. Now I'll show you how to do this one. So basically to set up, it's basically another Maven project. So just create a Maven project in your Eclipse. And one thing while creating it, you have to make sure like a file, new Maven project. Then when you are selecting the arch type, uh, you have to type in karate here. Then it will download all the dependencies for you, all the Maven dependencies for you. So you will see this kara. So if you see my one is just trying to get that one. So once you get that arch type, just click on it, go create your project, then that's done. Once you are done in your POM, you will see all the dependencies. If you don't do this way, you will struggle. I personally struggled only to set up. Setting up is bit hard. It's not that straight. So I would recommend you do this one. And also with Eclipse, just get the latest one, Eclipse 2021. Just get that one. And also this uses JUnit 5. If you are using a older version of Eclipse, then it uses JUnit 4 and many of the functionalities may not work. And you can go to their GitHub page. It has everything very detailed, like how to test in different areas of APIs basically. Okay, now let's come back to the topic, like why is it so good? I don't know why it's not popular. Maybe because it doesn't have support. If you do a Google search, you will see only a couple of pages, nothing more than that. Now, but a person who is trying to get into the industry or who wants to APIs, I think this is the best one I have seen personally. So you see, I have just created one feature file. This is just to make a get call. Okay, so here we are just making a get call. Scenario, place a get request and verify the response. So if you see here, these are all commented out. So don't worry about it. I'll tell you in the other one. I'm just calling one URL. So basically it's an endpoint and I am doing a get request. Then I am checking, okay, I am getting the 200 response. 200 means successful response. Then if I once I get the response, I want to print the response onto the console and see it. So if you right click, run as Cucumber feature file, that's it. So it goes through that. Yep, it's done, and it says it there was one scenario which is one and it passed. Now this was the response we got. So as we said print, it printed the response onto the console. We can also go and check it or see whatever this one is. Okay, so if we go and check, okay, what did I do here? Home. So if you see, it has clearly mentioned the steps. That was the test one, and then we said do a get. So it did a get, then its status is passed, then we said print it on. So it gives you this nice HTML reports actually. So that's the good part about this tool. And as I said to you, we don't need these two sections of writing the code or step definitions. We got rid of these two with this tool. How long it would be supported, I don't know, but at this point it looks very promising. So that's one. Do you guys have any questions here? So okay, I take it as no. Then let's go on to the next one. If you see this next one, here same thing. I placed a request, just the endpoint. I said do a get request. check for the response. Now once we get the response, in the response there I want to match something. If you know about XPaths, if I'll just run it, make it much clearer for you guys. So okay, let's see. Now we got the response here. This is the response we were looking for, and in the response, if we, so we know response will print everything, and in the response we want to see whether this URL matches this thing. So we went into the response, and inside the response we checked for that URL. So basically we went by that DOM path, if you say in HTML, or X path in this way. So we went by that path. So we said response.url should match this. If it matches, it passes. So as it matched, it passed it. And again we can go back to this to that section and check for that results. If you want to see it in more detail, we can go back there. Okay. Yeah, it's very easy, and I don't see any problem setting. Once initially, as I said to you, the initial setup takes some time, but other than that, it's all straightforward. So basically, we did a get request, we got the response, we matched the response. It's like a session. So basically, we are set it like, okay, I'm checking for something, it's there, yeah, done. Now, next one. Okay, here we only matched a particular section of the response here. So in this one we said, okay, can you just match this one or whatever. We could give those ones and we can ask for matching. But if you want to match the entire thing as is, like the response, so basically that means like we have to copy this response as a JSON file, store somewhere, then we can match that one. Yep, so we'll look at that one now. So if you see here, I said in this scenario, the response won't change. So it matches. So basically I'm saying like when we run this get call, whatever response we are getting, the data inside it doesn't change. If you see this one, this is some ID, yeah, this will always change every time you run. So whereas this one is a very standard one, so it just gets you the response. And what we did is, see, we declared a variable as expected output. And as you know, like in BDD, we can use star, given, when, then, star. These are all part of the BDD. So then we said read result.json. So what I did, I just copied that this into here as a JSON file. That's it. I just paste the result here, and now I am saying, okay, this is my result, this is my expected output, so that one. And once you get your response, match this with this. If it matches, it passes. So very straightforward one. Anyone has any questions here? Okay.
Again, have you tried, say, in that whole expected output, right? If we compare the whole thing. Say, if I want to ignore few nodes or few values, because
Yeah,
say date and timestamp will always change, right? So I want to ignore those. So does it have that option?
yeah, we'll cover that one in the next one. Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah, good one. I'll cover that in the next.
Okay.
The very next one talks about the same thing. So this test will fail as the header data will change for every request. So if we run, it's the same thing, but I am telling you why it will fail. Because as Vikas was just asking, if you see here, this one is changing. This one was not the same, so it failed. And it will tell you why it failed also, because that one doesn't match to what you're talking about. So because we, every time you run, this ID is changing. Now we have to ignore these sort of things, which we will use in the next one. If you see this next one, so in this test we will ignore comparison of one of the values from the response. To do so, we use this one. This is their internal keys, I mean again karate keys. So if you use this one, then it will ignore. So for example, if we go to this results2.json, this is the results2.json. So in this one I said you match everything but just ignore this one, so it will just ignore for you that one. So if you see here, I said okay, match the response but ignore that part. So if you use this word, it will ignore for you. So run as Cucumber Future. Now you see it's passed. Part which we were talking about, the last name, whatever was the response for the last name, it will just ignore. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Now let's look at the next option. Yeah, it's very straightforward. There's if you see here, like you will already know, there's nothing there, just write your given maintenance. As long as you know what keys we have to use for, that's more than enough, I think. So now in this one, what we are doing is again doing a get call. Then we are getting the response. Here we are checking if the key last name has a null value, has a value in the response. So basically what we said is, for last name, you know, there is a value for it. So we are just making sure it's not null. That's it. That's one scenario we covered here. And another one here is, in this response there is nothing like Jagan. I said like a response dot data, that is the data. Inside the response data, and inside that I am saying you should see some key as Jagan, but that Jagan is not even there, and I took it into a variable. I took that into a variable, and then I said and match this to null, means it's not there, so it will definitely pass. The Jagan is not there, and also saying it's null, so definitely it will pass. Any question here? So the
No, all good. All good.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. So the first one, what we did is, in last name we said not null. Yes, definitely not null. Next one we said there is somebody called Jagan here, but that's not there, and we are saying okay, that guy is not even there, so that's why that null means the same. That guy is not there. So when we run this one, both of this will pass because it has a value, and this is definitely not there. That's why it's null. So that passes that one. Now, okay. Now if you have multiple scenarios, see here we have like two scenarios. I've created two scenarios, scenario 1, scenario 2. Again, same thing. So only thing is it's reading that if you say expected output, just we are matching. So instead of putting like the result into one JSON file, we can put all of these JSON results into one single file, like this one's response, everybody's response, just by separating with them with a comma, and you put it as an array. Then it will be like, okay, that would be 0, this would be 1. Just to show you, see, let me go back to this. Okay, this one. Okay, if you see here, what did I do? I just took an array, and inside the array I said, okay, this is my first response, this is my second response. So we put all the responses there, and for those both scenarios I just gave it as 1. So it goes by the array concept and just calls this first one and checks, okay, this response is this one, and it will, when it runs it, it will get the response from the output, and it will match this expected versus actual. And same thing it does here, expected versus actual. Any question here?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, now that's multiple calls, and now let's look at this one, post calls. So last week, actually a couple of weeks back, when we did this course, we covered all of this. From here on, it's basically new. Basically, you could say this part 2 of karate, you could say this one. So now how to post a call. So again, if you see, making a post call, given path user. So basically what, let's give some gap. So background basically means like these would be the first ones to be executed. Whatever is mentioned in the background, they would be executed first. Now then after that it will come back to the scenario. And when we said given path, so basically this is your URL path endpoint, and this is the query which we want to do on that endpoint. So users, we want to get all the users, and for that, and request a JSON payload. So what I did, that JSON payload, I put it into again a JSON file. So if you see here, that's the payload here. So it's some simple payload, nothing much in it, a name and a job. Always you have to remember is, once you do your path, your payload, request the payload. Then also you need to make sure your headers are same here. If you see here, I have mentioned two ways. If you have only one single header in your API call, you could just say and, you could just, if you uncomment this one, and header content type equal to application JSON. Yeah. So if you go back to
Jagan, I have a question here. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I think you may be answering it in a couple of slides. I'm not sure if I'm jumping in.
yeah,
Say if you try to log in, right? You have a login API,
mm,
and then you get an authorization token as a response.
yes, yeah, I covered that one here. I'll tell you.
Okay, so you pass it on to the next consecutive calls.
Exactly. You take, no, so you write two scenarios. In the first scenario, you will get that auth token and you take it into a variable and you pass it in the next one in the header.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll cover that one in here basically. So in this case, basically I was just saying like multiple headers, like you would have plenty headers like that. If you have plenty of, if you have one header, you just put the name header and the content, whatever it is. If you have multiple headers and headers, content type, then blah blah blah, comma, you separate it by a comma, put them, or you can also put them somewhere else again, like a file, a JSON, and call them. So I showed different ways here. If it's a single one, you just put there. If there are multiple, you do like that. Even because this can be run initially only, you can take it as here only itself. So you can run it here only. And then you do a post call. Always remember this, this is the important part. The post call should be done after you get your headers, your payload, everything organized. Then you do your post call. Don't do it before that. And status 201 means it has successfully posted something. And I said print the response, so it will basically print the response onto the console. So yeah, so response, so it has printed the response. If you see here, response is this one, whatever. And yeah, there should be somewhere 201 also. Okay, wherever was the response, we should see the rest. Yeah, 201. So that is the status. Cool. Now let's see another one. So that's, sorry, post call. Okay, using parameters, this is also very important. We use every day. Every post call will have some parameter, question mark, something like that. If you see question mark delay equal to 3, so this is the API call which we are going to hit, and it has one parameter. So basically it's saying just delay it by 3 seconds, that whatever, like you hit it and just delay it for 3 seconds. Now if you see here, if you have multiple parameters, how to pass I have showed here. So you have to use the word params. If it is single one, you will just use param, param. Whereas if it's multiple, just add the s at the end, and in the curly brackets take whatever you want to put in your API. If you see here again, what did we do? That's this is the actual UI, I mean URL, and we are hitting this one, and that's the JSON payload, so which is the same payload again, nothing different. So as we are taking only single parameter, we say param delay equal to 3 and post get the response. So if you have parameters, that's how you run them. I mean, that's how you have to set up. Okay, and it passed that one. Now any questions still here? It's very basic, very simple, so yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Only thing, as I said, is setting up, initial setting up, you have to do the way I showed, so then shouldn't be a problem at all. Now auth token, so again, get a auth token and make a post call. So what we did here is we have two sets here. So basically this API, so we are doing a register, and these are the details. With these details we are trying to register this guy, and form field auth. param. So basically we are just giving like, okay, these are the fields which we need to fill. So we have declared with a variable as auth form, and we have given all these for a post call. So we fill those ones, we hit the post button, then status 200, then the print auth API response, then we'll get the response. So what I am saying here is we just got a auth code. While we run this one, we'll get a code for this one, and which we will be using in the next one. So then define auth code, again response. In the response there is something called token, this one. In this response there is something called token, we pick that one. Then again we are making a call again to this user 4. So same API call, but we are doing this user 4 because this is the new user who is being created. I'll show you in a second, you'll understand that. Then after that, in the header we are saying authorization and bearer auth token. This is a bearer type of auth token, that's why we had to use the word bearer. And karate is very sensitive, you have to always give the spaces as is, and this space also, it's very important. Then you do a get call, then it gets you the response. Let's run once to just understand how it works. Okay, so if you see here, this guy, this is the ID, that guy got an ID as 4, and this is the token. These two things we got from this post call. So, and from that we did what we did, we took response dot token. That means this whatever the value alphanumeric would sit in this auth token. This auth token we gave it as a bearer auth token, and we said, okay, this is the user 4, please get me the details for this user 4. Then it went through, run that user 4, and got the data for the user 4, whatever that guy's response is, like all the details about that user. I've also created one Word document to show you how this one works. So working with auth tokens. So okay, authorization. So basically this is where you have to put that token. So if you click on this one, get new access token, if you click on this, it comes up with all these fields like that. If you have all these fields, basically what you have to do is you have to go back into your code, and once you get those details from your developer, just enter all of them there, and that would be your details to get the auth token. You have to take each one as an individual key value, key value, key value, and enter all of them there. So the one with, and but in your manual way, you enter all of them, you click the request auth token, you get the token, then you enter the token here, and you do whatever you have to do. Okay, now let's see one simple example, which so if you see this one, first we enter that endpoint, then we have this payload for it, then we click the send request, then we got this token. Now, when you click on this option, there are plenty types of tokens, auth 0 to auth 02, like that, auth 1, just basic authorization. So you pick whichever option is valid. In this case, the valid one for this one was a bearer token. So we select bearer token, we enter the token which we got here, then we click on send. Same thing, same format, we use whatever we have done manually, we have automated it this way, the one which I just showed you. So that's how we automated that one. Any question here?
I
Okay.
have a few questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. One thing was, can you create custom steps? Because I can see that you are like there's a certain pattern for given when then. See, I mean, from an automation point of view, I know this serves the purpose of running a API automation. But then, from a business point of view, they'll not understand any of these things, right? Like they want given when then to be in a slightly business knowledge way, or at least application specific way.
So basically, I understand what you're saying. So whatever they mention, that step will go as your comment here.
Yeah.
and under you will write it basically. Similar like if we go by our normal way of automation, a
Mm.
BDD framework. So basically they write their simple BDD framework, and for that we have created step definitions.
Mhm.
In this scenario, basically you have to just hash it out, whatever they are saying. Okay, like if you go back to that first one, so basically every line you are mentioning what it is doing. Okay, you would say, okay, if the business says like given and enter URL as blah blah blah, so
Mm.
something like that. So just you hash it out and you mention the name for it. Basically, you are writing a code for it here. That's it.
Like,
You can't.
I understand partly, but then say if at all I have to create a wrapper around this, say given customer logs in, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's the statement that BAs asked me or business asked me to write,
Mm.
and then behind the scene, okay, I'll call, open this URL through the karate format.
Mm.
Is there a way we can create a wrapper around it?
I don't think so. It's very limited.
Okay.
Whatever it does is this is the only thing it does. But I have read somewhere like it does use JavaScript.
Okay.
So maybe if we bit explore on JavaScript way of using it, yeah, then maybe you would be able to use it. But what I see is like it's used in this simple format only.
Because I'll tell you what, I mean, another thing, if we can't do that, I can think of another limitation is, say, if I want to loop something
Mm.
using this given when, then can I do that?
Yeah,
Because,
that one I'll tell you later. Next one, next topic I'll tell you.
okay. If it's part of it, then fine.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go to the next one, and we'll see what data driven testing. This one for data driven testing, we have to do scenario outline, and then we have to give all the values here. Yeah. So basically, what we are doing is we are doing a post call, and that is the path we are going to hit, and this is the data, this is the post basically body which we are going to hit. So we have to just take it into these sort of brackets. That's it, whatever we are going to hit, and just give name, salary, age, whatever. Then our traditional way, if there are only couple of sets of data, you could just set whatever, you enter the names here and it will just fill up these ones, it spins through it. Any question on understanding how this works? Okay, cool. Similar sort of one, but if we have a lot of data, then you have to take it into a CSV file. Just create one CSV file in your framework. So if you see this one, I just created one CSV file, and inside the CSV file, I just gave the same thing like 10, 20, 30, whatever. And only thing you have to mention is that same names as what you gave there. So if you mention that one, and if you call that CSV file, so basically I said input.csv, just read it. So it will go read it, fetch the data, and spins through the entire data inside it. Let me run this and show you. So basically we expect three sets of data is there, so it has to run three. So it has run three times that same scenario. So first, second one was, last one was 30, age, second one was 20, third one was, sorry, first one was 10. Any question here? Basically it went through and spin through all the data in that Excel sheet. Okay, so basically that's three sets of tests it done for us.
Hey, Jagan, I have a question here. Like, if this is the only looping that you are talking about, because I was thinking of certain, say,
For loop and thing, is it?
no, I'm asking, like, say, if you log in
Yeah,
and then you try to say buy certain product, and you are
exactly.
calling a certain JSON file,
Mm,
okay, to buy,
mm.
and then you have to do the same buying activity, say, for 10 times.
Yep.
So we have to put it in some kind of a loop. I can understand we can call the same, by this API, by API, call that multiple times.
Yeah.
But can we do some kind of a looping even at the back end if we can do it? Like
As I
we can
said, like
manage.
JavaScript, it does have JavaScript functionalities, it seems. I have not used it, so it
Okay.
would be too early for me to comment without using it. But I
Okay.
think with using JavaScript, you can definitely do it. That would be my answer.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I have not explored that part of it actually.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay. Cool. No
I
worries.
thought it will serve our purpose with this sort of things. So yeah.
I'm trying to see the limitations of it. I understand like it does its job, what it is saying in a very simplistic way. But
Mm.
sometimes our tests are not as simple as they are saying, right? If it is,
Exactly. Agreed.
yeah,
100% agreed. That's why I go with RESTful. Yeah, because whenever we have to mend it, we go with Java. Wherever we
yeah,
have to enter, that's why if you go back to this figure again, this is where we do all those hacks. The
yeah,
way whichever want looping or whatever, everything is done here. But
yes,
it would, I think it would have something like that. It won't be that easy. I mean, that simple, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So if you just type karate, no, not karate, API automation. So if you go to this GitHub link, they have in detail mentioned like how it works on each one. So it's very detailed how to use it. Maybe bit of exploration here will help you understanding even further how I.
Actually, I remember even I looked at this some time ago. It's not recently, but then maybe a year or whatever years ago.
Mm.
But then even I did look at it at a very high level,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I didn't really drill deep into it. But then okay, as you are saying, pointing out.
Yeah, it's happy. It says calling JavaScript functions. So basically, you can write your JavaScript functions and call them. So basically, your loops or whatever you write in that one and just call it to do that activity.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Anyway,
Yeah,
that we can anyhow create custom
definitely.
step
Yeah,
definitions. Would like to think so.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So basically, you write your JavaScripts, call all your functions, and basically, as you said, like you logged in, you want to add 100 types of products or different varieties, combinations. You do
yeah,
all those combinations in that one and just call that method here or
yeah,
a function.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a very good question actually because I thought this is enough. So there is,
Mm.
I mean, enough for today's class, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
that's basically, and if you want to ignore something, you best, there is a tag called ignore, @ignore. If you use that one, it will ignore that particular scenario.
Yeah.
And same like your BDD framework, you will have a runner class. So so if you see this runner class, the karate has its own runner class. So basically, if you see this first one, you mention which one to run. So if I mention this one to run, it will run that one. That's one type of method. The next method, if you look at it, tag. You give a tag, it goes by the tag and it runs that one. Whatever tag you give to your scenario, it will run that one. And the third one is you have to mention the entire path and the tag. For example, you have uh, two scenarios in one feature file, but you want to run only with the one @first. Then you can use this sort of concept. If you want to run all of them, then you have to use this one. It will run all of them. So eventually, you would be either using this tags or using this one. So whichever is easy for you, then you will set up your Maven framework and you run it from your Maven and you get it into the Git, link it to your Git Jenkins and parameterize either the tags way or if you don't need tags, you want to run everything, just run it as is from your Jenkins. Any question here? Cool, all good. Okay then.
All good.
Yep. Okay, I think I'm done with this thing. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me.
I'll leave it to Satish then. I've already asked all my questions.
Okay, okay.
Jagan, just
Yes,
one question
yeah,
because I'm not very much familiar with testing frameworks.
yeah,
All I have seen or used is Postman. Within Postman, as in there is this Newman
yeah,
where we've been using scripts. So I
yeah.
was just wondering, uh, what are the pros and cons of using this versus those? Because what I've seen is we have used them in Jenkins CI/CD, where
Yeah.
we write the scripts and they run the Newman scripts through Jenkins. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the right question, but pros and cons of
No,
this
no, that's a
framework.
very good question because, frankly speaking, I started automating straight in RESTful services. I loved
Okay.
it, and I've been using setting up frameworks with that way. So, but good part is like if somebody is writing their BDDs, we just you write whatever you want to write. Based on that, we'll automate and give it to you. So that was the way I was using. But when I started using Postman, oh my goodness, data driven is so easy through Postman, and there are so many good functionalities. But if it comes to BDD, I don't think BDD is in Postman. But
Okay.
when even every automation tester before automating, they have to run it manually. So
Right.
if you ask me, I would use Postman or Catalan. My favorite is Catalan basically, but
Okay.
yeah, Catalan is a very good tool. Like it gives you mobile automation, web automation, API automation, and the GUI part of the tool is so good and it's free.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's like those olden days QTP, which is UFT now. So and it's free. So yeah,
Okay. Good.
yeah. Now, yep. And that's if you see these ones, like a automation tester will do these ones. Those ones are manual testers things. Yeah, Postman, you go and update your things and run it from your Newman or integrate with Jenkins. But if you are writing your BDDs, I don't think it would work that way. You have to manually go and update. Yeah, setting up environmental parameters and everything is so good there, but still it has its limitations.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So like as you guys as the developers set up your framework, we are setting up our framework and just putting it into GitHub, leaving it to these pipeline people.
Right.
CS people do whatever you want to do with it. Yeah. And you touched another topic also with the UI path editor. I think it will take over like anything because I even heard like City West Water has bought UiPath, which is the RPA tool, robotic process automation tool. So
Right.
basically, if those come into picture, basically they will get rid of people because those robot is supposed to do the work of a normal person.
Mm,
It will take time, but the robots which are number of robots, X number of robots, whatever the person does it physically, if you repeat the jobs and it has AI inside it, so it slowly understands the process also. And I personally used UI path editor, and it's such a cool tool. Basically, if those sort of tools come in, I don't feel like there is with our automation skills like writing the Java codes and thing is very minimal. A manual tester also can go drag drop as long as they understand the concepts of like development. That's more than enough, I think.
okay.
Yeah, they're so cool, easy drag drops. Oh my goodness. I think they will also be the same in future. It would be all drag drops and things. Uh,
Not good news.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, but still there would be something else. Yeah, we have this field is always we need to evolve. Okay,
Yeah,
then.
then we'll have
Yeah,
no, no. I mean, I think even if the tools will take over the mundane tasks that we do, we'll have to still be creative. Like, how do we use those tools in a more efficient way? That would be the direction in which we'll have to think eventually.
yep, yeah, exactly. And somebody needs to maintain the tools also. So that person should be always there.
Yes. Yes. Cool.
Hmm. Okay, then we stop here. And yeah, how did you find the class? By the
Yeah,
way,
it was good. Like very crisp, I would say. Very to the point.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
very nice. I would say.
Yeah, I thought like people can, because whoever is like manual testers straight away can start using this one because it's so quick learning for them. It's not nothing much to learn actually. You are just writing a couple of whatever given when then and running it.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
guys.
the
Yes, yeah,
biggest plus I would say is very nice this the way you've taken it, because most of the times the trouble is the starting trouble, how to get started, and you've kind of given a very good start for what even for a developer who does not know automation very well. This is a very good introduction to get started. So thanks for this. It was really good.
yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming over.
Yeah.
And yeah, all good then. We stop here then.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks again. Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Cool, cool.
Bye.
Talk to you guys.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.